Tell
So,
us, Rita, what would you like the audience to do for the final challenge?
so one of the things that we thought would be great is to actually have the community to develop a proposal. So someone in our audience right now, start thinking, start looking around, start thinking about stories and that you see happening in your community. Maybe something that's unique to your community, maybe something that's unique to this time in all of our human experience. And what we want you to do is kind of think of it as a whole reportage project. It's not just one sketch, and you'll have a lot of time to work on this, right? Rob wanted to give you a tighter deadline, so we'll have to negotiate the deadline. But we want to hear about a project that you can develop independently. You can work with another sketcher, or you can work with your whole chapter. And we want to see a proposal with some example sketches of this community. So what does that mean? Let's hear an example. This is beautiful artwork by Rob, which just takes my breath away. And an example of something like that, right? Rob, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, okay. So I wanted to give you an example of what can be done because this is a series that I did a couple of years ago. It was with the Urban Sketches Hong Kong chapter, and very close to my neighborhood, there's a little neighborhood called Tai Hang, and they have 130-something-year-old tradition where in accordance with, along with the Mid-Autumn Festival, they pull out this 67-meter-long dragon made out of husk and incense sticks. So it's literally on fire. And it is held up. Like if you've seen it, everyone's seen a dragon dance before, right? The Chinese New Year. It's on poles and stuff like that. And the people who carry it are like maybe about a few hundred people who live in the neighborhood. So you'll see people of all kinds, you know, it's such a powerful neighborhood vibe. So I know that there aren't festivals everywhere in the world now for you to do reportage about, but we wanted to fire you up and drum up some enthusiasm. So I'm going to show you some possible things. Like what I did was with the Mid-Autumn Festival, they'll have all these lanterns made out of cellophane. So I wanted to document that. And then they've got this crazy signage that comes up as well. They put that up. It's made of paper and lights, and it's kind of gaudy, but it's also like so iconic. And then telling more of the story, there are these drummers. I hope you're getting excited. And you know, there are little girls, part of the community as well, with lanterns, and the crowd is watching. So this would be like the local drumming team. And then there are all these people then, like, so in a reportage, you document the different steps of the process. This is what happens when they're actually lighting up the incense and getting ready to show it. And then this is the actual neighborhood, so you get a feel for what that is like. And this gives you an idea, like how many sticks, 72,000 sticks of incense. It's 67 meters long, 220 feet. And, you know, so do your reportage, and finally when the dragon is dancing, that gives you an idea of what that is like. And on top of that, after that, the whole area, this is a 3-day festival, and they have this giant block party. And I just did this quick sketch, you know, because normally the whole area is full of like mechanics and garage where they're fixing cars and all that. But then the grills come out, like they cut the oil barrels in half, and then they make a grill out of it. And it is such a fantastic way to document a tradition. So if you can't go out to sketch something like this, it's okay. You could focus on an artisan, a craftsperson who's making something. Like something I've always wanted to do is go back and find out how they actually make this, because it's a year-long project. It's still supposed to be happening this year, but I mean, Hong Kong's starting to lock down now, so we don't know.
Okay, so I really want to talk to you about the examples that you have about how you've used your voice as an urban sketcher as a megaphone. And I really like that catchphrase as well, a megaphone, a very powerful one too. So let's dive right into it. What are you going to share with us today? What stories? What powerful stories?
All right. Well, one project that is, once again, has a lot of relevance to what we're living right now. And that is a project that I did in, I think, 2017, 18, so a couple of years ago. And that's the
Hmm.
story of Kalaupapa settlement. So for those who don't know, this was 100-year-long quarantine on the island of Molokai. And in a way, it still continues because there's still a handful of patients living there. But people with Hansen's disease, commonly known as leprosy, were sent here sometimes by mistake. They were suspected of having the disease, so they were sent here in isolation. And the isolation was created by the nature itself because there are no roads that lead to this place. It's very, very difficult to get here. So initially they were kind of left to fend for themselves. Eventually some structures were built. So we're looking at the community kitchen with that big chimney. And the structure to the left is a housing for the severely blind and the infirm. So patients lived there, and they had their community kitchen. They had some activities. Yeah, it's a very, very special place. And I know that we're all getting a little tired of the quarantine. It's been going on for a few months, but talk about a really long quarantine of 100 years.
Wow.
So right now, the Kalaupapa is managed by the national park. And what they're trying to do, in addition to kind of preserve the heritage of that place, is to restore the native plants, vegetation of the island, because it's also been severely affected by all the invasive species. So there are a lot of volunteers working on replanting native plants.
That's it. I mean, your work is really stunning, and you've brought such beauty. I mean, this is for some people don't. I don't know whether you caught it. This is in Hawaii, and you think of it as like a holiday destination. And the way that you sensitively brought out the beauty of the place and paired that with the story, it's really quite stunning, Rita. Thank you.
Thank
Oh,
you.
please go on. Tell it. Tell us more.
So this is one of the areas, a coastal vegetation restoration area. So this area is completely closed off. You can't go there, unfortunately. But if you could witness the amazing comeback of the native plants when they're kind of cared for, and this is a process where they come back because they take away the invasive species animals that eat them up. So these plants are coming back, and it's just this amazing symphony of color and beautiful, hopefully almost original vegetation.